Welcome to On Deck with Rachel Becker on Big 12 Studios. I'm Kylie Austin, and we are once again joined by the Rachel Becker, our two-time All-American 2023 first team All Big 12 NCAA leader in doubles and former Purdue and Oklahoma State athlete. Rachel currently plays for the Oklahoma City Spark and is breaking down all things Big 12 for us. Welcome back, Rachel.
Thank you, Kylie. Super excited for this week in the Big 12. We had some great matchups and can't wait to talk about it.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in by talking about the top of the Big 12. I'm talking about Texas Tech and Arizona. Last week, they were our matchup of the week. And just as you predicted, Texas Tech took the series. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Texas Tech versus Arizona, the series we all kind of had our eyes on throughout the season. Game one, Arizona wins that game 2-1. They came out hot. Despite Texas Tech with the 2024 Player of the Year, Nigeri Kennedy, in the circle for the Red Raiders, Arizona just jumped on them early in the game, and then Devin Netz threw 5 innings and also had a 2-run home run in that game. So really getting it done for Arizona in game one. And then Texas Tech able to respond the next day, ruling the Wildcats in 5 innings, taking that game 10-1. The Red Raiders really just jumped up on Arizona. 4 runs in that first inning, continued to pour it on. And we also saw Kennedy again in the circle for Texas Tech in game 2. And then game 3, series is all on the line. Texas Tech comes out and gets the win over Devin Netz in the circle for the Wildcats. This was such a good game, tight all the way until the 6th inning, but Texas Tech able to pull ahead by 3 with a home run from Demi Elder. So just a great matchup all around. Nigeri Kennedy had to throw 15 2/3 innings throughout that entire weekend, which totals up to 305 pitches over those 3 days. So she definitely had to put a lot of innings on her arm, but it paid off, and Texas Tech won the series 2-1. And I really don't see how they don't win the regular conference Big 12 title at this point.
Definitely Kennedy holding the Red Raiders to that top seed there. And we'll talk a little bit more about where we stand as far as moving into the Big 12 Conference Championship. And as we see the dominance of the Red Raiders continue, we also have the Sun Devils really finding their stride, which is why they are our matchup of the week, Arizona State at Texas Tech. What are you going to see in this matchup?
Yeah, so another great matchup, Texas Tech in a really tough just section of their schedule. Arizona, the number 2 team in the conference, and now this week taking on Arizona State, the number 3 team in the conference. Nyjah with so many pitches on her arm. So I'm really interested to see how she comes off of that weekend at Arizona and then comes into this weekend at Arizona State, who we know is playing really good softball right now behind Kenzie Brown, who we're going to talk about more later. But Arizona State, Texas Tech, pretty evenly matched offensively, in my opinion. Arizona State is hitting 309 with 48 home runs as a team, and Texas Tech is hitting 320 with 44 home runs as a team. So Texas Tech with a slight edge average-wise, but Arizona State with a bit more home run power in their lineup. And then both these teams have a solid ace in the circle, Nigeri Kennedy and Kenzie Brown, 2 of the best in the Big 12, both with super low ERA. I definitely think we're going to see some pitching duels this weekend in Lubbock.
Absolutely. We already know that Kenzie Brown comes right behind Nigeri Kennedy as far as Big 12 pitching goes. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Do you have a prediction as to who will win that series?
Yeah, I really do think I'm gonna stick with Texas Tech taking this series. Arizona State, I think, will come in hot this weekend and get a win behind Kenzie Brown, but I just think the Arizona State offense will struggle a little bit against Kennedy, and then also Texas Tech is going to be at home, so I think that gives them a little bit of an edge. But I really am excited for this series. I can't wait to watch. It's going to be so much fun.
A home environment is always one of the most difficult to go in against, especially with such a strong team. Are there any other matchups that jump out at you for this weekend?
Yeah, so for me, it's going to be BYU versus Baylor. As we know, BYU competing very well in the conference this season. They're in that 4th spot right behind Arizona State, Arizona, and Texas Tech. And then Baylor also creeping up to that 7th spot right behind Oklahoma State. Baylor played pretty well against Arizona State. They were able to take one game out of that series last weekend, but just competed well for the most part. And we know BYU has some absolute stars on their squad. And I'm really excited to see how this matchup plays out.
BYU and Utah had one of the most exciting games of the weekend for sure. It was a crazy back and forth there on Saturday. I want to talk more about Kenzie Brown now on the Sun Devils. Brown, like I said earlier, leads the Big 12 in pitching only behind Nigeri. What makes her so great in the circle?
Yeah, so Kenzie Brown from Arizona State just been lights out this season. Some of her stats, she's thrown 144.2 innings this year, which is third in the Big 12, has collected 17 wins for this Arizona State team. Again, third in the Big 12. For me, the most impressive thing about her is she has 246 strikeouts, which is first in the Big 12 by a long shot and second overall in the entire NCAA Division I softball players across the board. So she has been outstanding. She really has an effective curveball, which she throws about 50% of the time in the upper 60s, low 70s. So a lot of velocity, hard thrower, comes at you fast. But she mixes that really well with a changeup, which comes in the low 50s. And that's a huge speed differential, which gets her a ton of swings and misses. She keeps hitters guessing at the plate. And that's what makes her so effective.
And that is so effective for her. And those strikeout records, I actually didn't know she was second in the NCAA for that. So that's an amazing accomplishment for sure. And definitely a pitcher to watch out for as we move into conference championship play. Who else do we need to be watching right now in the field?
Yeah, so I'm going to highlight a very strong defender for the Baylor Bears, and that's going to be Presley Pylon, the senior second baseman. So she's just been across the board outstanding. She's leading the conference in assists with 120 this season so far. So the Baylor pitching staff really just feeding her ground balls constantly, and she just is making so many plays behind her pitching. She only has 3 errors on the season so far, fielding percentage of .985, which is elite for a middle infielder, especially in the Big 12 and the Power 4. Just an amazing infielder. She has 16 double plays this season, second in the conference. Overall, just she's super quick to the ball, covers a ton of ground at second base, has a great glove, makes some outstanding plays, and turns a lot of double plays with the shortstop, Amber Tobin, for Baylor. I got to watch her a couple weeks ago when Baylor played at Oklahoma State in person, and she just made like game-saving defensive play after the next, and it was outstanding to watch. So she's been doing very well. Excited to see if she can help out her team take BYU this weekend.
Absolutely. And as an infielder, what do you see when you watch a defender that really jumps out at you as extraordinary and above and beyond?
Yeah, for me, I think it's just the ability to go use your range and go get balls that are up the middle or to your glove side, and then be able to make a tough throw in a difficult angle or a tough throw on the run, because a lot of people underestimate that part of the quick release and just how fast softball is. You have to get the ball down to first base as soon as possible with these softball players that just run so fast and get down the line so quickly. So for me, it's just going to be the attack on the ground balls and then just a quick release and strong throw from any kind of angle.
No doubt a speed factor there. All right, last week you said that BYU was the team on the rise. They won their rivalry series against Utah, taking them down 2-1 over the weekend. This week, who is the team to watch, team on the rise?
So for me, it's going to be Oklahoma State, because they are sitting in the middle of the conference standings right now, but still in the rankings. They just won 2 out of 3 games at UCF. They got some really clutch hits from Amanda Hassler, able to take that series. Just some nail biters that they had out in Orlando. And Oklahoma State takes on Kansas this weekend. So this is going to just be a good opportunity for them to get their offense going a little bit more and just continue off the momentum from the series win and just push them into the postseason, because we know that Oklahoma State has the talent, has the athletes, the pitching, the coaching to get it done. So I'm really excited to see how they finish out this conference season and if they can make a run late in the conference tournament.
Absolutely. Oklahoma State having so much postseason experience that they'll definitely be a team that could definitely come up and surprise people as we go into the Big 12 championship and hopefully beyond as well. We've truly covered so much softball, and I am so excited for week 11. But that is all for On Deck with Rachel Becker covering Big 12 softball. Huge thank you, Rachel, for all of your insight. Don't miss Arizona State at Texas Tech this weekend, and be sure to keep a lookout for Oklahoma State as they try and make a rise in the standings as we come closer to the season's finale. Be sure to follow Big 12 Studios on social media and the Big 12 Conference YouTube for more updates and highlights. Until next time, stay locked in on Big 12 softball.